right, it's about that time, and if everybody would please stand, and we'll have Miss Myrtle lead us in prayer.
Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this beautiful day. And Lord, we just thank you for all the many blessings you give us. And we just thank you for your Son Jesus that died on the cross for our sins. And Lord, just help us have this meeting that will glorify you. And these things we ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen. If you would remain standing, we'll say pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. All right. If you have a cell phone, please mute or turn them off for the duration of the meeting. We would greatly appreciate it. And I will get mine off here. All right. Let's see here. Okay, I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. And find my minutes here, get organized. All right, at the conclusion of town business, we will open the floor for comments. And so, all right, let's go ahead and call the roll, please.
Okay. Myrtle.
Here.
Eugene.
Here.
Mayor Self.
Here.
Brenda.
Here.
John.
Here.
Steve.
Here.
Mayor Self, you have four.
All right, thank you very much. Yep. All right, let's see. All right, let's go back and read the minutes from the March 8th council meeting.
Mayor Arthur Self called to order the regular meeting of the council at 7 p.m. on March 8, 2021 in the town hall. The invocation was given by Myrtle Van Cleef. The Pledge of Allegiance was recited by all. The roll call was had. The following persons were present: Mayor Arthur Self, Councilors Myrtle Van Cleef, Eugene Kiley, Brenda Lowe, Steve Brewer, John King. The minutes from the February regular meeting were read. Brenda Lowe made the motion to accept them as read, seconded by Steve Brewer. Motion carried. The financials for February were given. Eugene Kiley made the motion to accept them as given. John King seconded. Motion carried. Old business, Commissioner Washburn did not show up for the March 8th meeting scheduled with Mayor Self and Steve Brewer. Steve is to contact Commissioner Washburn to try to reschedule this meeting for March 22nd. The auditors tell us the audit results should be in before our April meeting. Mayor Self explained that he purchased the website name and protection package renewal for a 5-year term. The cost per year was the same for a 3 or 5-year term. The total was $575.20. Our LED lighting upgrades and other electrical work in the town hall is complete. New business, the clerk is to call Alabama Power about changing the Green Acres sign lights to LED. Mayor Self shared the cost and benefits of an alarm system in the town hall. Information on ADT, Ring, and Simply Safe was given. Eugene Howley made the motion to purchase the Ring system. Steve Brewer seconded. Motion carried. The mobile phone ordinance 2021-001 was brought up for more discussion. Steve Brewer made a motion to accept it as written. Eugene Kiley seconded. Motion carried. A work session was scheduled for March 22nd, 2021 to discuss and develop a nuisance ordinance. Mayor Self read the updated zoning ordinance 2021-002. This was the first reading. It is to be brought up at the next meeting. Mayor Self read the property annexation ordinance 2021-003. Brenda Lowe made the motion to consider on first reading, seconded by Steve Brewer. Motion carried. Brenda Lowe made motion to accept annexation ordinance 2021-003 as read. Eugene Kiley seconded. Motion carried. A motion to adjourn was made by Myrtle Van Cleef and seconded by John King. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned. Respectfully submitted, Lucy Howard.
All right, any questions or comments on the minutes as read? All right, if there's no comments or corrections, do we have a motion to accept as read?
I make a motion to accept them as read.
A second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept minutes as read. All in favor? All right, is unanimous. Motion's carried. All right, now to the financial reports. We're getting more and more accounts every meeting. We got more accounts. All right, let's start off with the general fund. Our beginning balance was $32,910.52, and the ending balance is $29,463.58. Okay. Next up is the moving Blount County forward account. The beginning balance is $24,391.62. Our ending balance is $24,987.39. All right, next is the 4, 5, and 6 road account. Our beginning balance is $12,215.49, and the ending balance is $12,494.84. All right, next is the 2 and 7 road account. Beginning balance is $11,133.98. Our ending balance is $10,650.45. Okay. All right, Rebuild Alabama diesel tax account. Beginning balance $3,337.90. Ending balance is $3,588.69. All right, and then the Rebuild Alabama gas tax, beginning balance is $10,475.20. And ending balance is $11,253.30. And our last account is the Capital Improvements Fund. The beginning balance is $14,909.17. Ending balance is $12,884.17. The expenditure out of this account was transferred to the general fund to reimburse the check written for the electrical upgrades. Any questions or comments on the financial reports?
On, 2 and 7, what is that DC excavating? What was that?
The red rock or the rock?
For Town Street.
Town Street, okay.
That's the name of the trucking company that brought it out.
Okay.
From that too.
Right.
All right, any other questions or comments on the financial reports? If not, do we have a motion to accept as read?
I'll make a motion to accept as read. I'll second.
Steve made motion and John seconded. All in favor? All right, motion carried unanimous. Okay. All right, no standing committees, special committee reports. Hold on a second. Got an echo going here. All right, reports of officers. Steve, would you give us a rundown on meeting with Commissioner Washburn today? It was scheduled for 2 o'clock and he showed up at 11.
Right. He was a little early this time. We've been trying this was the 4th try to get a meeting with him, but we finally got it. Anyway, we went to Coppersville Road, and the bad spot where the drainage goes on the road, he said he could fix that with patching across the hose. He said it was a sinkhole, and he thought that the drain pipe would be okay. So he's gonna patch it with some tar and gravel. We went to Smith Mill Road, and he said we get Smith Mill Road paved. Not paved, but tar and gravel redone, potholes out of it. And there would be a little bit of drainage work to be done on it also. But we didn't discuss price on the drainage work. Won't know until they get in there anyway. So he said that Blount County charges $27,000 a mile to do a road. So that road is just a little over 1/4 of a mile long, so that's your dollar figure of what it would cost. And that's not our cost. We probably, if the council agrees, we'll split the cost with Blount County.
As Steve and I had kind of talked about this after his meeting, I'm not adverse to, Blount County let me just back up. Number one, Blount County is responsible for maintaining our roads, period. Uh, in the past, we have, turned over whatever the gas receipts, gas tax money that we have received. We in turn turned that over to Blount County in the past, but then they stopped taking our money and started returning it to us. They still did not alleviate their responsibility. They are responsible for maintaining the roads. But we do have some road money, particularly the moving Blount County forward tax money that can only be used on roads or education. Not sure what kind of education we can use it on, but it can only be used in Blount County. And I am not opposed to taking money out of the moving Blount County forward account and giving it to Blount County when they do the roads. I'm not going to pay all of it because it's not our responsibility. But that additional tax was placed on the Blount County's residents for road maintenance. So let's use it for road maintenance. But I'm not 50%. I don't think we should pay 50% of the cost, but we can contribute definitely.
So are they going to fix the drainage problem on Brazil? Because that sinkhole is gonna keep happening.
Well, when we was out there today and looked at it, the pipe itself coming from where the house sits, the water goes through the pipe, and there's a little hole dug on the other side of it. The problem is the field is not designed to drain. It funnels up right there. So it's private property that's where the water is backing up in that drain. It doesn't have nothing to do with the county. That's a private property deal. They need to make a drain where that'll go on out and away.
Well, I thought at one time there was a drain that took it across the road. It was under the
Yeah,
road.
it is. There's drains under the road, but it's backing up. The field fills up with water, and it has nowhere to go.
So it's backing up in the pipes from the property across the
road,
street.
across the street.
Well, is there still a ditch there? Where that, in front of the Bobo's old trailer? That middle trailer?
Where it runs into the culvert pipe. Yeah. It's open. It's got a big open hole. There's nothing to hold the water to keep it from going. It's when it gets on the other side of the road, it backs up.
And that's the narrow part of that road, and if anybody tries to get over to let somebody by, they're gonna fall in that. That's what concerns me.
There again, that hole is sitting in private property.
But I thought that the county had a right of way of so many feet onto somebody's property. That's what I've always understood.
I have seen quite a while ago, I saw some document where the property owners signed over right of way to the county. It was done years ago. And we may have it in there on file somewhere, but it seemed like there was a document.
I know for a fact that Freda gave Blount County permission
Yeah,
to do that. I know she did. She told me she did.
well, that, like I said, there is a document that deeded or it gave Blount County the right of way or access to the right of way. But again, it was a very old document. I don't know how long ago it was done.
There is
understanding is 21 feet to the side of the road, right away, 21 feet from
21 from center.
center. From center. 21
Well,
feet.
from
Right away is 21 feet from center of the road.
from that house to the hole is not but about 40 feet. That's why I'm saying I don't know how much easement is in there, because that would be half of the people's front yard.
The right of, but what I'm saying is that the right of way for the county is 21 feet either side of the center of the road, is what I understand.
But I mean, they wouldn't be taking their property, they would be fixing that thing and, you know,
Well,
covering it up.
one of the biggest issues up there is that the water runs down the hill in front of Bobo's house and runs across the road. It doesn't go down the ditch and go into the culvert, it runs across the road. And if you go down there 2 to 3, 4 days after a rain, it's still running across the road.
So it comes off his property.
So I'm trying to run this in my head. I was there today and looking at it. The one house that's sitting up there kind of sits at a angle where the ditch is. Is that Bobo's? I thought Bobo's was the next house.
Double wide on top, up on top.
Yeah,
That's the one they live in, but they own the other two.
yeah.
Well,
What's that?
if you look in front of Bobo's house, the ditch that comes down the hill, the water that runs down that ditch runs across the road. It doesn't go down, most of it doesn't go down the road. It comes across the road. And there's always a puddle there 2, 3, 4 days after a rain. Always.
I was video it, so you got video proof after it rained. That's what I would do, so you can show you.
What really I think needs to happen there, and this is just me talking out loud because I'm not an engineer, but what it looks to me like is that ditch needs to be cleaned out and probably put in top of the gravel, so that it can run under their driveway to go through that ditch.
I'll see if I can get Washburn back out here cutting that. Buddy, isn't that still in Blunt County? Isn't that in the bend of that road, ain't that still Blunt County?
Blount County goes all the way to the end of Coppersville, and just where it goes into Allen and Misty's, Walton's place, I think the county line is just about there at their driveway, or where their driveway gate is. So, but yeah, everything else on Coppersville. Coppersville Road is in Blount County, period. All of it. Part of it goes in and out of the town limits, but where it swings out to the north, that further swing is in the county. When it swings back in just past Bobo's, it comes back in, or it's right on the county line, town limit line. But irregardless, the county is still responsible for the entire road. But yeah, probably need to get him back out here when after it rains to see what the water is really doing. Because we can look at it all day long and guess at what the water is doing, but you really need to see it firsthand. Maybe we make arrangements for that.
Right.
Or if it's not while it's raining, immediately after it's rained. So, all right. Any other questions or comments for Steve on the meeting with Washburn?
Give me
And-
those figures again, excuse me, give me the,
Tar and gravel
uh-huh,
is 27,000 a mile. And length of that road is just a little over a quarter of a mile.
27,000 a
Right.
mile.
Uh-huh.
Well, he needs to, if they're gonna do anything on Smith Mill, they need to go all the way down to the county line,
That's right, we went to the county line, that's
Okay.
what he said.
okay? That, cause it's bad all the way to the
Yeah.
county
But
line.
he did tell me that he wasn't really for sure if it was a quarter of a mile, but he had already measured it and he had paperwork on it and he would send that to me.
Okay,
So,
all right.
yeah,
Well, we can-
yeah, asphalt's more.
Asphalt costs about 3 to 4 times
Yeah,
more.
about 4 times as much. Yeah. But what he said that they would do is go in there and cut all that up and leave it laying, but level it out.
Yeah.
You know, pack it down and let it settle. Then they come back in there with gravel, put gravel on top of it, and then they would come back and top it with gravel and tar.
Okay. Kind of like what we're going to do out
Yeah.
here on Town Street.
And he said the reason that they could do it so cheap is Blount County has all that equipment. They don't have to contract that work out. They just get what they need and go.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have them do it, and we'll have to negotiate how much we're going to expend. But
Yeah.
does the council approve spending money out of the, say, our moving Blount County forward account was $24,000. So if we paid $27,000 a mile,
But we'd be paying just for a quarter of a mile, right?
yeah, still less than $10,000.
Yeah. I figured somewhere around $7,000, just guesstimating. Like I said, we don't know what the culvert's in there. It holds water, so something's got to be done with that.
Yeah.
And they won't know what they have to do until they get all that dirt and stuff right back. So
Well, I think we should pay part of it, since we have the money in the account. We can pay a portion of it. We'll have to negotiate and see what, he wants us to pay for it all, I know,
yeah,
but we're not going to.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not obligated to do that, but we will pitch in for it.
He said he was willing to help us any way he could help us. So
All right,
he's good.
we're gonna take him at his word.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments on the
Does
road
the
work?
council want to move forward on it or?
Yes.
All right, do we have a motion? Let's do this. Let's somebody make a motion to pursue negotiations with Blount County for the road work.
I'll make a motion that we.
I'll second it, go ahead.
All right, we have a motion from Steve to pursue negotiation with Blount County for the repair of our roads, seconded by Eugene. All in favor? All right, motion carried. All right, if you will initiate that contact,
I will.
and, we have, we can primarily concentrate on the moving Blount County forward account and use that money, for the repairs. And see what we can negotiate.
Okay.
All right,
Does that include negotiating for Topsville also? or-
all the road work,
Yeah.
all the road work. If we're gonna, enter into a contract with Blount County for these road repairs, then we need all of our roads attended to. And you can tell him he can quit sending that mowing bill to us.
Well, the bill that we had was wiped out. They took care of that,
Well,
and he said we'll go forward from here.
all right. Well, not gonna pay for mowing.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the old business, and the first item of old business is our, the audit, and we have our auditor here. And let's see, what did I do with that? Here it is. If you would, come up to that, microphone, and if you would turn it, there's a button on it, You should, light up there.
Matt, your last name's Taylor.
Yes. All right, I think we're on. Thank you for having me, Mayor and Council. Just briefly go through some of the what I consider important points. I guess the first thing is maybe about the fourth page in. It's our auditor's report, and at the bottom is the opinion, and the opinion is our opinion on the financial statements presented. It is an unmodified opinion, which is what you would want. You wouldn't want that to be modified in any way. So the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the town. I guess the next thing I would bring your attention to maybe is page 5, and I can tell that most y'all probably already know this, but on the bottom section there on page 5 is the fund balance, and there is a lot of restricted funds, such as road projects and resurfacing, road maintenance and construction, capital projects, road maintenance and education. I heard one town councilor one time say, water everywhere, not a drop to drink, because you're just so restricted on what you can use the money for. So anyway, as y'all talked about, you've got moving Blount County forward and rebuild Alabama, which are relatively new revenues. And anyway, so those accounts are building up. So if you'll turn with me to page 7. Governmental financial statements look a little different than business financial statements, but the third line from the bottom on page 7 is net change in fund balance. And this is what, if we were looking at business financial statements, we would call net income, and that's $25,011. And that is inclusive of all funds. And then the rest of the financial statements, pages 8 through the end of the booklet, are the notes supporting the balances on the previous pages, and just general accounting policies that we've picked up and put in there. So I'd be glad to take any questions, and also if no questions tonight, Miss Kylie has my information. I'd be glad to answer any questions or concerns that come up at any time. But again, like I said, the opinion is unmodified, and I can hear y'all. I can hear you from what you've already said. I think the only thing to be careful with is you just have a lot of restricted funds, and you have to be careful that you spend restricted money on the restricted requirements. And but that's really all I have. I really appreciate y'all having me tonight, and I've appreciated working with Miss Kylie on getting this done. So thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You did great.
Does anybody have questions for me?
Oh yeah.
Me.
Not tonight anyway.
Okay, yeah, sure.
A to L, how'd they do?
Hey.
All right. Very good.
He said I qualified.
Hey, well, we can use that. I mean, that was a good.
I was not expecting that.
All right. Appreciate that. I want to go ahead and get you in on the at the beginning, so we could, if you needed to, you're free to leave
Okay.
anytime. All right. The next thing I have under old business, we do have the alarm system that has been installed, and it is in working condition. We have not started our monitored phase yet, because I wanted to get it installed and work out any bugs we might have had, and alarms. And apparently the first night it was armed, we must have had a deputy come in, and we didn't notify them that the alarm was been installed, and it was going off, but didn't notify anybody because it's still internally monitored. And they did attempt to turn it off, with a keypad, but they didn't have the code. We have taken care of that. The code is now inside the lockbox so that they can access it, and I hope we hadn't scared them off.
I'm just glad they're here.
Yeah,
I mean, that's-
and, I'm glad somebody's using it. And, but we have, made provisions for the, inside the key lock box is also a code assigned to the deputies. So, and we'll know, with this alarm, we'll know when, the deputies do utilize the facilities. So, anyway, it's up and running, and, we will start the monitoring phase within the next week, where it'll be monitored.
I just have to get my user part, my part signed in. I still haven't got it. I'm sorry.
You say again, I'm sorry.
I haven't gotten my, I saw the email the other day, but it was already 7 days old. I had already been trying it, and when I got that other email, I'm gonna have to get another email, I guess, to
Well,
work on the right thing.
that, when I was over at your house the other day, the email had come, and we tried to, get it set up, but it failed to,
Yeah, that's what.
couldn't get it to
that's
go.
the same email.
That's why I had to assign you
I
a,
deleted that one because I want to know when I get another one,
yeah.
I'm sure I do.
And I have not gotten back in touch with them to find out why
Okay.
we couldn't add you on. Anyway, and I sent Steve an invite for that too. I don't know whether you ever got it.
I don't think I got it.
Okay, well, you have a code assigned to you now, so use it. It was just, the other invitation was a more enhanced, login where you could control more of the system. But it just doesn't like adding people, so. Anyway, it's up and going, and, we'll start the monitoring service, in the next week or so. All right, on to new business. The first item I have is new business is the, State of Alabama Legislature and Senate has passed a bill. It has become an Act number 2021-157, and it has been signed by Governor Ivey. This act moves municipalities off the presidential election cycle. Those municipalities will hold their next election in August of 2025 and will hold elections every 4 years thereafter. To avoid constitutional issues caused by shortening an elected official's term of office, this one-time change requires extending the current term by 12 months. This bill will not change the election cycle for Auburn, Bessemer, Dothan, Gadsden, Huntsville, and several other larger cities that were not on the presidential election cycle. So we've all got a year extension. Yeah. Nothing we have to do is just that they're stuck with us for another year. All right. Next item of new business is our welcome to county line signs. This one here is extremely faded. His attempts to clean it have been fruitless. And the one on the other side of town with a gaping hole in it is getting bigger. Somebody's, I don't know what they're using, but it has gotten larger. And I want to say about replacing them. I want to get council permission to pursue estimates or bids to replace both signs with the same type of sign. And hopefully look for one that will weather better than these have.
Have any that's bulletproof?
Mhm.
Do they have any that's bulletproof?
Get 24-hour guard.
or shotgun proof.
Yeah.
That was a shotgun that blew the hole in one down on the other side of town.
Lucy and I worked so hard getting those signs.
We sure did.
Yeah, and I like them. I really do. But I think we're gonna have to replace them. And
Was that a one-time deal?
Yeah,
And
it
where
was a
y'all got 'em?
grant. from
there was a grant from Alabama Power.
Yeah.
Look, I called, the sign company and, they can replace them. I believe, did I give you the numbers? It can replace them, it was $100.
Yeah.
For putting a one-sided one over this bad side and 200 for the double-sided, and he'll stick them in. Now, I don't know about how much the installation will be. It shouldn't be much if he charges me. But he says he can do it this week or next week because they found he's got it in his computer.
All right, so $300 to replace both of them.
Approximately, just go approximately.
Okay. All right. How does the council think? That's a reasonable price to you?
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion to proceed and purchase?
I make a
Replacement signs?
motion, we proceed with the sign.
All right. All right. Myrtle made the motion to purchase or pursue the signs, seconded by John. All in favor? All right. Motion carried. We'll go ahead and contact them, Lucy, and
All right,
see what
okay.
when they can get it done for us. And appreciate it. Also on the lines with signs, we need to contact Blount County because we do have another sign, a town of county line town limit sign on Dean's Ferry, on other, going out of town. That thing, you can barely read it. It's so bad. But it's a town limit sign,
Oh, the
county
town
line,
limit.
town limit.
Okay.
And it's on Dean's Ferry, all the way north, the northern edge of town limits.
The street sign for Deans Ferry Road is also gone.
It's right by right past Miss Glover's house. You know where Miss Glover lives, the brick house,
Oh, where
right before you go down the
where the
hill.
town limit sign goes?
Mhm.
Well, is the post still there?
Do
Is the
what?
post there?
Yeah, the post is there. The sign
Sign
is there
is
too, but the sign
Oh,
is
you
in
just can't
terrible
read it.
shape.
Okay, okay.
It just needs to be replaced. Sorry.
What about this limit sign right down the road here? It's just tied with,
We need
I
a,
tied it up and brought it back up, somebody run over it. Me and Gene worked on it one time.
Yeah.
We got it tied to the post. It's still leaning. This limit sign down on this end down here. You can read it and everything, it's just somebody run over a lawnmower, I believe. And bent it over and we pulled it back up and tried to tie it with a lock doing tile thing.
Yeah. Well, we probably need to. I need to take a ride around town and see what all is missing. The Dean's Ferry sign, road sign, is that down at the four-way sign?
Yes, that's where we stopped.
Okay. Why does somebody take that?
And somebody needed a souvenir, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah, they just took it completely off the post.
It's gone.
All right. Well.
The post is still there, the sign's gone.
Well, again, that's another one that we'll have to get Commissioner Washburn to order for us. But yeah, we need to get those replaced. All right. That's all I have for new business. No petitions, complaints, applications, or appeals. Resolutions, ordinances, and orders or other business. I have a resolution. This resolution, we entered into a memorandum of understanding with Jefferson County for debris removal back in 2018, 2019, something like that. Anyway, it's up for renewal. And I did, prior to the storms we had back in March, had contacted, actually, Zach from Commissioner Knight's office had contacted us about signing it and getting it into them before the storms came in. Well, I did send them a letter or an email that stated that the town did want to continue the memorandum of understanding with them for debris removal, but we have to provide a resolution to them committing the town of County Line to that MOU. All right, so therefore, the resolution reads as follows. State of Alabama, County of Jefferson, Resolution 2021-001. Now therefore be it resolved by the County Line Town Council that the mayor be and hereby is authorized to execute a memorandum of understanding between the town of County Line, Alabama, and Jefferson County Commission, Alabama, for the purpose of allowing the town of County Line to participate in Region 6 county contract for debris removal and monitoring services on this 12th day of April of 2021. Okay, and it just basically allows me to sign the memorandum of understanding and send it along with this resolution to the county commission for Jefferson. So, all right. Does somebody want to make a motion to authorize me this or to approve this resolution?
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution.
All right.
I'll second it.
All right. Steve has made the motion to approve the resolution, seconded by Eugene. All in favor?
I don't understand
What?
what you're saying. Are you saying that we're not gonna participate, that they won't help us clean up if we have storm
What this
damage?
is basically doing is allowing us to use the county contract for any debris removal. There's a contract. I think it's actually done by the commissioners or the county commissions group negotiates per region. Blount and Jefferson fall in Region 6.
So we would get our own.
We could call them and utilize their contract prices for debris removal.
Okay.
That's what this is all about.
Okay. Sorry, I just didn't understand.
Well, no, that's fine. That's fine. I'd rather you ask questions and let's get them answered before we pursue it. So I'll reprint this and okay, let me do that right now.
We'll pass this one around and let them sign.
Well, I've got I made a mistake of printing on both sides.
Oh, okay. I got you, okay. Well, let me go copy this off on one and we'll.
Well, that'd be fine. That'd be fine. I was gonna print it out, but that's quicker. I'm not going to read all the memorandum of understanding. It's just,
Motion.
I've got other things to read here that are
We gonna
one's
finish-
only
we gonna
3
finish
pages.
voting on it? Yeah. Do we?
I think it's.
One is
Okay.
8 legal size
We didn't
pages.
finish.
I didn't vote because I didn't know what you were talking about.
I have to read it out loud. Anyway, all right, while she's making the copies there, let me step on to the next item here. And you go ahead and just give it to Steve, let him sign it, and we'll pass it around. That's all that. All right, while that's being passed around and signed, all right, the last meeting I read this ordinance, and this time I'm gonna read it for the second time, and would like to act on this tonight for this particular ordinance. All right, this is State of Alabama, County of Blount, and County of Jefferson. Ordinance number 2021-002, Town of County Line, Alabama. Ordinance establishing zoning for residential properties. An ordinance. Be it ordained by the Town Council of the Town of County Line, Alabama as follows. Section 1, any dwelling place currently existing or that shall be constructed in the future that is expressly designed for occupation for one family shall be designated as an R1 zone for any person within the corporate limits of the Town of County Line, Alabama. Section 2, any dwelling place, unit, or house currently existing or shall be constructed or developed in the future that is expressly designed for the occupation of multiple family use and or occupation shall be designated as R2 zone for any such dwelling place, house, or house within the corporate limits of the Town of County Line, Alabama. Section 3, any non-manufacturing business that exists or shall be established that deals in the sales of goods and services, wholesale or retail, shall be designated as a C1 zone for any business located within the corporate limits of the Town of County Line. Section 4, any manufacturing business that exists or shall be established that deals with the manufacturing of goods for sale, wholesale or retail, shall be designated as a C2 zone for any business located within the corporate limits of the Town of County Line, Alabama. Section 5, any agricultural business that exists or shall be established that deals with the agricultural activities undertaken on land for the production of plants, crops, or animal goods for sale, wholesale or retail shall be designated as an A1 zone for any agricultural business located within the corporate limits of the Town of County Line. That was the paragraph that was actually added. All right, under section 6, definitions. A single-family dwelling unit shall be defined as a unit that consists of one structure located or attached to real estate that has one head of household using the Internal Code of Revenue guidelines and requirements for that classification. B, multiple family place or house shall be defined as a house, unit, or units located or attached to real estate that has more than one head of household in a single unit or a head of household per each structure or unit located or attached to said real estate using Internal Code of Revenue's guidelines and requirements for the classification of head of household. Said multiple family places or dwellings shall include but not be limited to boarding houses, mobile home parks, or apartments. C, a boarding house shall be defined as any building or portion thereof which contains rooms which are designated or intended or actually used for the purpose of hired occupancy by individuals for compensation, whether paid directly or indirectly. D, mobile home parks shall be defined as any site of land privately or publicly owned or operated upon which two or more mobile homes are located which are used for living as single-family dwellings, whether operated for or without compensation. E, apartments shall be defined as any structure that has more than one self-contained single-family dwelling unit constructed in the same structure. F, non-manufacturing businesses shall be defined as any business that purchases goods from a supplier that are ready for assembly or resale, wholesale or retail, upon receipt thereof, or provides a service to the general public for charge. G, manufacturing businesses shall be defined as any business that uses raw resources to design, build, or manufacture goods for resale, wholesale, or retail to other businesses, corporations, groups, and individuals, either publicly or privately. Section 7. This ordinance, insofar as the zoning requirements and standards, shall apply to any and all dwelling places, whether single or multiple, and all businesses, whether non-manufacturing, manufacturing, or agricultural, that are established, constructed, or placed into operation after January 1st, 1997, as established by the Town of County Line Ordinance 1997-002. 8. All real property located in the corporate limits shall be deemed R1 until such time as they are to be used for one of the other classifications established under this ordinance. Section 10. Any person, company, partnership, or corporation desiring to use any real property inside the corporate limits of the Town of County Line for any other purpose than R1 must apply for a proper zoning for that property prior to using it for that purpose. If it is an existing structure or facility, or prior to start of construction or development of any structure or facility that is not in the R1 classification. Said application shall be made in writing to the Town of County Line Zoning Board. Section 10. The Town Council of County Line, Alabama shall establish a zoning board to consider consideration of all zoning applications, that this board shall consist of at least 3 individuals, but no more than 5. Board appointments shall be for 2 years and shall be staggered. Section 11. The zoning board established by the council shall meet on an as-needed basis and shall abide by all laws of the state of Alabama set forth for municipal zoning. However, the zoning board must consider any request made of it within 30 days of the proper application having been filed. The zoning board may continue its consideration for each application for one 30-day period. Section 12. All decisions of the zoning board are subject to review and approval by the Town Council of County Line, Alabama. Section 13. All ordinances or parts of ordinances which conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. The provisions of this ordinance are cumulative and shall not be construed to repeal or supersede any laws not inconsistent herewith. Section 14. If any of this ordinance is declared invalid or unconstitutional, such declaration shall not affect the parts which remain. Section 15. The ordinance shall become effective the first day of May following its adoption and publication. Adopted and approved this 12th day of April of 2021. All right, questions and comments? That's,
Okay, the part about the mobile home parks, you said if there's 3
if it
mobile
says,
homes on one lot. I have a question about that because on my property, there's 3. but they're all separate lots.
They're separate lots, there's three entities. But, it says mobile home park shall be defined as any site of land privately or publicly owned or operated upon which two or more mobile homes are located, which are used for the living of single-family dwellings, whether operated for or without compensation. I would interpret that as, if you owned a plot of land and you had, this lot had three or two or more mobile homes, that would be a mobile home park. But if it's a mobile home on a lot,
Let's say I had
Nice.
the lots divided, there's 3 lots,
well,
and they all have their own address.
I would interpret that as one mobile home
Per
proper
lot.
lot.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments on this? This is the second reading, so we can entertain, motions to accept as read at this point.
Do we wanna take any public comments on it?
Hmm?
Do we wanna see if anybody has any questions about it?
Sure, this is the second reading, so, it was posted or read last time. Any questions, comments?
I do have one question. On my property, I have my home and outbuilding out back in which I'm planning to do woodwork and we're gonna make profit from it. Do I have to get that, my property reevaluated, or how does it work?
Are you gonna have customers coming to your
No,
site?
Well, there may be some that come, but it's not gonna be a retail space. What we make would be taken away from the property.
If, I keep getting echoes here.
Your point of sale would not be that. Your point of sale would be elsewhere.
And most of it, but there will be some there.
There it goes again. Pardon me, got something going on here and I don't know what it is. What's causing this echo? It comes up every once in a while.
I'm just
As far as
curious, I'm
your-
going to be rezoned for my whole property, or just a piece of property, or at all?
Well, are you obtaining a business license?
I am not, and I haven't done it yet, because we haven't started. We've just been getting set up, but I will be getting
I would think it would fall into, it would probably need to be, rezoned to, you're going to be you would fall under a manufacturing, because you're going to be taking raw material and creating stuff from it.
I will be, yes, but would I have to get the entire property rezoned, or just the structure out back, or what?
Is the property sectioned?
No, it's all tied together.
Good question. I'm gonna have to, I don't have an answer for you right now.
80% or more of the property is residential.
Yeah,
20% may be business.
yeah,
And it's also partially residential, because that's where I keep all
I
my
think,
working tools
I think we'd have to look at it as the primary purpose of the property is residential, is the primary purpose. And I would leave it as residential. Because hobby, that could be classified, and Internal Revenue will also classify it as a hobby if you don't make, a certain amount of profit, over a
I'm not
period of
interested
years.
in getting rich off of it. I'm just wanting to stay busy and help make a little extra money for trips and that kind of thing.
Well, I would have to interpret it as what is the majority of the use of the dwelling or the property? What is the major use of the property?
Residential, the overwhelming majority of it.
And it could be classified more of a hobby than it really is a business. If that's my interpretation, I can ask the attorney to clarify that. But that's the way I would interpret it. Does council have any other opinions on that?
That sounds right to me.
Yeah, so I would pursue that. Yes, ma'am.
The housing, like in our neighborhood now, there is 2 families living in one home. If additional people come in, say like the house next to us is for sale. If there's 2 or 3 families move in there, is this gonna stop some of that from happening?
It specifies, well, it would have to be rezoned if multiple heads of household. That is the key phrase, head of household. How many head of households are in that dwelling? The dwelling was made for a single family. These are single family units out there. They're not intended for multiple families. Now if
When the man moved in, his wife passed away, and then supposedly he married this other woman. Then he's let another woman move in that had 2 boys and a girl. Now the boys have graduated from school and they've gone away, but the woman with the autistic girl still lives there. Now you would really consider that 2 families. That's why I was concerned if somebody bought the house next door, how many families could move in there?
yeah,
Because we've already got 2 families
Well,
really on the other side.
when we're looking at the structures and zoning a structure, we have to zone the structure. If more than 2 families or more than 1 family lives in that single family structure, I don't know that we can zone it differently.
About it now, but if somebody new comes in.
Well, they're still, regardless of how many people they pack in there, it's still, the structure itself is a single family dwelling. And that's what it would be zoned as, unfortunately. But I understand what you're saying. But this is actually zoning structures primarily. It's just like in Curtis's example, his primary use of the property is a single family residence, a single family dwelling. And living with your parents, or your parents living with you. That's 2 families, but it's still a single family home. Again, that's my interpretation of it. It does not mean it's a legal interpretation. So we would have to address that probably through their attorney to get any further clarification on it. But that's my interpretation of it. So, all right. Any other questions on?
Mr. Mayor, does this have to be, if this passes, do I have to, have this, like, put in the paper? Do I have to?
No, it just
Either of these?
record it at the courthouse. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
You too.
You too now. Just record it at the courthouse.
Okay.
And the zoning would have to be, most of the ordinances are going to have to be filed with Blount and Jefferson. Okay. Now coming back to Coming back to this ordinance, get Jimmy a piece of paper around here. All right, do we want to consider this ordinance? Do we have a motion for this ordinance?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, have a motion to accept as read in a second,
On the second reading.
and this is the second reading, as I said before. So all in favor? All right, so motion's carried.
Zoning ordinance was Steve made motion to accept as read
On second reading.
on second reading.
And Eugene seconded. All right, all right, I have one more that I've got to read, and this is the first reading of the nuisance ordinance that we worked on during our work session on the 22nd. So this is the first reading. It will not be voted on tonight. It will be carried over to the next meeting for the second reading and then consideration for passage. So let me go ahead and get this read. All right, the state of Alabama, County of Blount and County of Jefferson, Ordinance 2021-004. An ordinance defining nuisances, establishing a procedure for the abatement of nuisances, and providing penalties or violations of its provisions. Be it ordained by the Town Council of County Line, Alabama as follows. Section 1-1, the purpose. This ordinance establishes the definitions of nuisances, establishes a procedure for the abatement of nuisances, and provides for penalties for violation of its provisions. Section 1-2, nuisances definition. For the purpose of this chapter, the term nuisance shall mean anything that unlawfully causes hurt, inconvenience, or damage. That class of wrongs that arise from the unreasonable, unwarrantable, or unlawful use by a person of his own property, either real or personal, or from his own improper, indecent, unsightly, or unlawful personal conduct, working an obstruction of or injury to the right of another or the public, and producing material annoyances, inconvenience, discomfort, or hurt to another person or to the general public. Anything which is injurious to health, or is indecent or offensive to the senses, or an obstruction to the free use of property so as to interfere with the comfortable enjoyment of life or property of another. It just dawned on me, figured out what was causing it, feedback on me. Sorry, it's out of the. All right, section 1-3, nuisance unlawful. It shall be unlawful for any person or to permit or maintain the existence of any nuisance on any property under his control. Section 1-4, Town Council Nuisance Abatement Board to enforce ordinance. The mayor and the town council shall, by separate ordinance, appoint a nuisance abatement board to enforce the provision of this ordinance, and until such time as the town establishes the office of building inspector, building official, vector control supervisor, director of public works, fire marshal, health officer, or such other town employee as may be designated by the town council. Said separate ordinance provides that in the event no citizens or desirous of volunteering for service on the NAB, there's a nuisance abatement board, then the mayor and 2 council persons shall serve as said board, pending establishment of any of the aforementioned positions by the town. The NAB, upon resolution of the town council, shall inspect any nuisance reported by letter, in person, or by telephone to the town council at meetings, or to the mayor, clerk, or individual member of the town council by any citizen of the town or county line, for consideration to abate by the town council. The town council shall serve as the officer of the town or county line. A majority vote shall be required by council for abatement of any nuisance. Section 1-5, dangerous buildings, structures, and conditions. Section 1-5-A, all buildings, structures, or conditions which are unsafe, as defined in the 1985 Standard Unsafe Building Abatement Code. 2, not provided with adequate egress, or 3, which constitute a fire hazard, or 4, or otherwise dangerous to human life, or 5, which in relation to existing use condition constitutes, which in relation to existing use constitutes a hazard to safety or health by reason of inadequate maintenance, dilapidation, obsolescence, abandonment, or accumulation of rubbish and debris, are hereby declared to be dangerous buildings, structures, and conditions. All such dangerous buildings, structures, or conditions are hereby declared to be a nuisance. It shall be unlawful to permit any such dangerous building, structure, or condition to remain or continue in existence in any place after receiving an order from the town council to abate the same by repair, rehabilitation, demolition, or removal. It shall be unlawful to occupy any building or structure or permit it to be occupied while it is or remains a nuisance. Section 1-5-B, all mobile homes or conditions or which are unsafe as defined in the 1985 Standard Unsafe Building Abatement Code. 2, not provided with adequate egress. 3, which constitute a fire hazard. 4, or otherwise dangerous to human life. Or 5, which is in relation to existing use constitutes a hazard to safety or health by reason of inadequate maintenance, dilapidation, obsolescence, abandonment, or accumulation of rubbish and debris, are hereby declared to be dangerous mobile homes and conditions. All such dangerous mobile homes and conditions are hereby declared to be a nuisance. It shall be unlawful to permit any such dangerous mobile home or conditions to remain or continue in existence in any place after receiving an order from the town council to abate the same by repair, rehabilitation, demolition, or removal. It shall be unlawful to occupy any mobile home or permit it to be occupied while it remains a nuisance. Section 1-6, vegetation, grass, plants, and weeds. A, any vegetation, weeds, grass, or plants other than trees, bushes, flowers, or other ornamental plants under proper care and cultivation, which have grown to a height of 12 inches or more on any lot or tract of land in town, are hereby declared to be a nuisance. It shall be unlawful to permit any such weed, grass, or plants to grow or remain in any place after receiving an order from the town council to remove the same. B, in the case of a large tract of land on which no structure is situated, the provisions of this section shall apply only to those portions of said tract which are within 100 feet of a structure or a public road, street, avenue, highway, or other public right-of-way, except property zoned as A1 agricultural, which are within 30 feet of a structure or public road, street, avenue, highway, or other public right-of-way. The town council may, for good cause, reduce the area subject to this section to a lesser distance. All portions of such tracts shall be subject to all other provisions of this chapter. Section 1-7, debris and rubbish, etc. An accumulation of debris, trash, brush, used building materials, refuse, remains from a building demolition, remains from a fire, parts of buildings or parts of untenable structures on any lot or tract of land in town is hereby declared to be a nuisance. It shall be unlawful to permit any such accumulation to remain or continue in existence in any place after receiving an order from the town council to remove the same. Section 1-8, machinery, vehicles, etc. in residential areas. Storage of used building materials, machinery, vehicles, parts of vehicles, or any other material which may provide a breeding place for mosquitoes, harmful insects, or rodents, or is so unsightly as to be offensive to the neighborhood and the town limits, is hereby declared to be a nuisance. It shall be unlawful to permit such storage to continue after receiving an order from the town council to remove the same. Section 1-9, area of responsibility. It shall be the responsibility of owners, agents, occupants, and lessees to keep their property free of nuisances. Owners, agents, occupants, and lessees whose properties face a municipal street or right-of-way shall be responsible for keeping the property free of nuisances to the municipal street or other right-of-way. Owners, agents, occupants, and lessees whose property face on a municipal alley shall be responsible for keeping the area from the property to the center of line of the alley free of nuisances. Section 1-10, notice to abate nuisance. Whenever, in the opinion of the NAB, finds that a nuisance exists, as defined in the chapter or ordinance, the board shall order the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or lessee of the property to be determined by the town's attorney by conducting a title search of records in Blount or Jefferson County Probate Office, if necessary, on which the nuisance is located, to abate the same. Abatement shall mean full and complete removal of any nuisance declared under sections 1-5, 1-6, 1-7, or 1-8 of this chapter. Abatement shall mean either repair, rehabilitation, demolition, or removal, as shall be determined by the NAB as the proper remedy for any nuisance declared under section 1-4 of this chapter. The NAB shall give written notice to the town council of its inspections and findings of the existence of the nuisance, and that the board has provided notice of the nuisance pursuant to the paragraph A above to the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or lessee of the nuisance, and the manner in which the nuisance is to be abated. The town council shall, by majority vote, a resolution to effect the existence of the nuisance, the manner in which it shall be abated, and shall state the time within which the nuisance must be abated, and that the NAB shall notify the owner of said nuisance. Said resolution shall be sent by certified mail to the owner, agent, occupant or leasee or person shown by the records of the tax assessor of Blount or Jefferson County, Alabama, to have been the person last assigned for payment of state and county ad valorem tax on the property, the existence of the nuisance, with the description, matter, and time within which the nuisance must be abated. E, the resolution shall require the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee to complete the abatement of the nuisance within 120 days from the date of the notice if the nuisance is under chapter or under section 1-5-A, and within 30 days if the nuisance under sections 1-5-B, 1-6, 1-7, 1-8, provided, however, that the resolution may stipulate a different time, but in no case more than 120 days. Such notice shall provide it or notice owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee that's the same can request a hearing or file objection with the council within 60 days of the date of notice if the notice states action to be taken under section 1-5-A, or 30 days if the notice states action is to be taken under sections 1-5-B, -1-6, 1-7, or 1-8. The notice shall contain a provision notifying the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, lease, or leasee that he or she has a right to request a hearing and or object to the finding of the NAB no later than 60 days from the date of the notice if the notice states action to be taken under 1-5-A, and 30 days if the notice states action is to be taken under 1-5-B, 1-6, 1-7, or 1-8. F, a notice shall be posted on any unsafe building that the town council has passed a resolution stating the structure is unsafe, its use or occupancy has been prohibited by the town council for the town of County line, and shall be signed and dated. Said sign shall not be removed without permission of the town council. No person shall enter the structure except for the purpose of making the required repairs or demolishing the structure. Section 1-11, failure to comply with notice to abate. In the case the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee shall fail, neglect, or refuse to comply with the notice to abate the nuisance, and or request a hearing to object to the NAB's notice within 60 days from the date thereof for a violation of which notice is given under 1-5-A, or 30 days if the notice is given under 1-5-B, 1-6, 1-7, or 1-8. The town council shall hold a public hearing authorizing the abatement of the nuisance by the town council, and also before levying an assessment on the property. B, notice of public hearing to determine whether the town council shall order to abate the nuisance shall be given by causing a notice of such hearing to be sent by certified mail to the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee at least 10 days before the date of such hearing. The hearing shall be held within 60 days from the date of finding of the NAB for a violation which notice is given under 1-5-A, or 30 days for a violation for which notice is given under 1-5-B, 1-6, 1-7, or 1-8. Such notice shall be posted at 3 public places in the town, one being the town hall in the town of County line, at least 5 days prior to the hearing, and shall be published in a general publication newspaper one time, not less than 10 days prior to the hearing. C, after the public hearing, the town council may by resolution order the Dallas-Sellsville Fire Department to proceed with the work specified in such notice, or may order such nuisances demolished or removed, or the town council may contract with persons, firms, partnerships, corporations, or other legal entities to perform, correct, repair, or practical or abatement, or abate the nuisance. Nothing contained herein shall require any repairs to be made. The town may elect to abate by demolishing any nuisance. If the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee of the property shall appear at the public hearing, no further notice of the order of the town council shall be required. If the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee fails to appear, notice of the order of the town council shall be mailed to the last known address and shall be posted for 5 days in 3 public places, one being the town hall in the town or county line. D. Upon the expiration of 7 days from the date of posting under subsection C, or 7 days from the date of the order, if notice by posting is not required, the town council or its designated representative or agent shall proceed to carry out the order of the town council. Section 1-12, Administrative Hearing and Appeal. Any owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee receiving notice of the nuisance and the NAB's findings of the nuisance and a manner of its abatement made no later than 60 days after the date of notice for a violation for which notice is given under 1-5-A, or 30 days for violations alleged under 1-5-B, 1-6, 1-7, or 1-8, requested an administrative hearing and or object to the findings of the NAB by mailing a request for hearing and or objection in writing to the findings of the NAB to the clerk of the town or county line. Failure of any owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee to notify the clerk in writing requesting a hearing and or objection to the findings of the NAB within 60 days of the date of notice sent for a violation of which notice is sent under 1-5-A, or 30 days for violations for which notice is sent under 1-5-B, 1-6, 1-7, or 1-8. Waives any and all rights to administrative hearings. When an owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee notifies the clerk of the town or county line in writing of the request for a hearing and or objection to the NAB's finding, the clerk shall notify the mayor and the town council forthwith of said request for hearing and or objection, and the mayor and the town council shall set a date of administrative hearing within not less than 10 and no more than 60 days after the date that was the request in writing is made for the hearing and or of objection for a violation of which notice is given under 1-5-A, or 30 days for a violation for which notice is given under 1-5-B, 1-6, 1-7, or 1-8. Notice of the hearing before the town council shall be published one time in a newspaper of general circulation, not less than 10 days prior to the hearing. Additionally, the town clerk shall cause notice of the hearing to be posted in 3 public places, one being the town hall and town of county line, no later than 10 days prior to the hearing. C. At said hearing, the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee shall present its reasons as to why the decision of the NAB should not be followed, as well as present evidence to the town council as to any objection which said owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee has to the finding of the NAB's to, finding of the NAB's findings. The town council shall then, after presentation of the evidence and argument of the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, releasee of the property, as well as in receiving evidence from the NAB, shall make a finding to uphold the NAB findings and determine whether the building or structure is unsafe to the extent that it creates a public nuisance, or find in favor of the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee that the building is not unsafe, nor does the building or structure create a public nuisance. In the case of the violation of notice given under 1-5-A, should the town council make a finding that a building or structure is unsafe and that said building or structure is to be demolished or removed within 30 days following the date of the town council's determination. If the notice of the violation pertains to section 1-B, 1-5-B, 1-6, 1-7, or 1-8, then the town council may order the nuisance abated, removed, cut, or take other actions consistent with this article to abate, remove, or otherwise remedy the nuisance. D, if any owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee is in disagreement with the findings of the town council, said person may appeal the decision of the town council within 30 days after the date of determination by the town council by appealing to the circuit court of Blount or Jefferson County, Alabama, by filing with the clerk of the circuit court of Blount or Jefferson County, Alabama. Notice of the appeal and a bond for security of cost in the form and amount approved by the circuit clerk. Upon filing of the notice of appeal and bond for security of cost, the town council shall suspend its order providing for the abatement of the nuisance, demolition, and or removal of the same, pending the appeal and outcome of the same in circuit court. Yeah, got BB. All right. All right. Section 1-13, nuisance abatement board. The NAB may consist of private citizens appointed to the board, or if none volunteer to serve on said board, the board may consist of the mayor and town council members. Furthermore, the town of County Line may contract with private contractors for the purpose of demolishing, abating, removing, cutting, cleaning, or otherwise remedying the nuisance. This section authorizes the entry by any member of the NAB, private citizens comprising membership of the board, mayor, and council members, if applicable, as well as any private contractors, volunteer firemen, etc., hired by the town for abating the nuisance, onto real property being investigated for the first purpose of examining and inspecting the interior of any building and or structure to ascertain whether said building and or structure falls within the provisions of 1-5-A hereof, and or for the purpose of establishing whether a nuisance exists under provisions of 1-5-B, 1-6, 1-7, or 1-8 hereon. Said authorized personnel shall not have permission or right of entry to the interior of any building or structure without first having obtained prior written consent of the owner and or occupant thereof. Additionally, this section authorizes the entry onto real property by any of the aforesaid members, private contractors, and or volunteer firemen for the purpose of demolishing, burning, cutting, cleaning, or otherwise abating it and or removing any nuisance in accordance with the provisions of this ordinance. Section 1-14, assessment of costs. The town shall keep accurate records of all costs associated with demolishing the building, including any contract work for the demolition, attorney's fees, recording fees, certified mail fees, title search fees, and other costs and expenses incurred in connection with abatement of the nuisance. B. Once the building is destroyed or demolished, the town shall pass a resolution fixing the cost of demolition and removal, as well as for all costs, expenses, and fees associated with demolishing said building after deduction and or crediting the value of any salvaged material after the sale of said salvaged material. C. The town clerk shall notify the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, or leasee of the cost so established, as well as to provide in said notice a date for which a hearing is established, hearing to establish a lien for special assessment based upon the fixed cost so established. The notice shall be provided 5 days prior to the date of the hearing by publishing the notice in a newspaper of general publication one time, 15 days prior to the hearing. In the event no objection is made at the hearing, the fixed cost shall become a special assessment by finding and resolution made thereof by the town council and shall constitute a lien on the real property being the subject of the assessment. A certified copy of the resolution shall be sent by certified mail to the last address listed and assessed by ad valorem taxes, and a certified copy shall be published in a manner as prescribed by municipal ordinance. D. In the event the owner, agent, occupant, or lessee shall fail or refuse for a period of 28 days to pay off or discharge the expense, the town clerk shall report to the town council at the next regular meeting following the expiration of that period, and a resolution passed to record the lien so established, providing the owner, agent, occupant, mortgagee, leasee with a notice thereof. Any assessment against property under this section shall not be final until 7 days after the adoption by the town council. Once the assessment becomes final, the town clerk shall have such resolutions recorded in the office of the probate judge of Blount or Jefferson County. Section 1-15, collection of assessments, remedy of town. In any event, the owner, agent, occupant, leasee shall fail or refuse to discharge the assessment after a period of 28 days from the date of assessment was made final. The town may commence an action in any court of competent jurisdiction to recover said expenses. In addition to the remedies otherwise provided for herein, the town council may cause an action to be instituted to enjoin or abate any nuisance. 1-16, continuing offenses. In all cases, the persons whose duty it is to abate any nuisance shall be liable for a separate and distinct offense for each day the nuisance is allowed to remain after it has become his duty by notice of the NAB and or town council to abate it. Section 1-17, penalty for violations. Any violation of any section of this provision of this chapter may be punished by a fine of not less than $50 and no more than $500 for each violation plus court costs. This shall be in addition to any assessment for costs available to the town as provided herein above in this ordinance. Construction. This chapter shall be construed to contain all the power granted to municipalities under section 11-40-10, 11-47-117, 11-47-131, 11-47-140, 11-53A-1-6, and 11-53A-22-26, Code of Alabama, 1975, providing for controlling nuisances, sanitation, and good public health and safety conditions. Section 2, adoption of standard code for elimination or repair of unsafe buildings. The Town Council of the County Line adopts the standard unsafe building abatement code 1985 edition as published by the Southern Building Code Congress International as its standards for all buildings built after this date, after the date of this ordinance. The Town Council of the County Line shall consider all buildings inhabited in the Town of County Line on the date of this ordinance becomes law, safe and as far as they are in a livable condition at the signing of this ordinance into law. Upon vacation, it shall be at the discretion of the Town Council's interpretation of the standard code for the elimination of repairs or of unsafe buildings as to whether the building shall be considered safe at any future date. Repealer, all provisions of this code of the Town of County Line and ordinances which are inconsistent with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Separability. It is the intention of the Town Council of County Line that each separate provision of this ordinance shall be deemed independent of all other provisions herein. And it is the further intention of the Town Council that if any provision of this ordinance be declared invalid, all other provisions shall remain valid and enforceable. Section 5. Pending proceedings. Nothing in this ordinance shall be construed to affect any suit or proceeding now pending in any court or any rights acquired or liability incurred, nor any cause or causes of actions occurred or existing under any code, section, or ordinance hereby repealed, nor shall any right or remedy of any character be lost, implied, impaired, or affected by this ordinance. Section 6, effective date. This ordinance shall become effective on the first day of June 2021 following its publication, adoption and publication as required by law. Approved and adopted this 10th day of May, 12th day of April. No, that's right. It'll be the 10th day of May, because that's when it will be brought to a vote, is the next meeting. Any questions or comments on that? Here you go. Here's your copy. All right. Any questions or comments on the ordinance that I just read? If not, all right. That let's see, I've got those two. All right. That is the last thing I had on my agenda for tonight. Anybody else got anything?
Does that include us?
Yes. Anybody?
Yes. Just one question about that particular resolution there, or issue there. Again, as part of my construction business, manufacturing stuff, I have several thousand board feet of barnwood lumber stacked up, ready to be used, built with
Mm.
Could that or would that be considered a part of the nuisance?
We're addressing nuisances. We will be addressing nuisances that are reported. We're not looking for nuisances. We're not going to be going out looking for nuisances. We will investigate nuisances reported by our town citizens. Okay? And speaking of nuisances and the nuisance abatement board, we do need to get some volunteers, and I see two right now that I'd like to.
I was thinking the same
That,
thing we got.
I would like to invite you to participate or participate as a board member of the abatement board. Yeah. Okay. We'll do it formally. We've got to establish an ordinance to appoint the board, but I would like to both of you and you too, if you would like to. All right.
Well, I just wondered about the housing, cause
Yeah.
some people move in adult children and their children and,
Yeah.
we just don't want to get out of hand like some areas, that, I get
Well, but yeah, it's we would like to enlist citizens to be part of that board. But again, like we said, our intention is not to go out looking for nuisances. We're going to wait for people to report nuisances and then investigate them as they're reported.
I know one.
So, I mean, it
Well,
Yeah.
I do have a question, does that mean like non-running cars, junk boats,
junk boats,
not just houses and
yeah,
sheds?
Smith Mill may be a good example.
Exactly.
uh, But the house, the abandoned house up here on County Line Road, just outside the curve, that I want somebody to report that.
Out there.
I mean but that's what we're looking at. But our intention is not to go out there headhunting. We're not going to go out there trying to find a nuisance. But when somebody brings it, files it, or it does. They can do it in person. They can do it in writing. They can call and leave a message. But it's got to. We want it to be reported by the citizenship, and then we will pursue it and take it for action at that time. All right. Anything else?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Yeah.
I heard it.
All right.
John's looking around, he's saying it's your turn.
Yeah. All right. We have a motion to adjourn, and we had a second.
Second.
And John seconded. Myrtle made the motion. John seconded. All in favor? All right. Motion carried. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for coming.
There's peanut butter cookies over there and
I'm gonna get me some.
more.